Hello and welcome to more Resin Playtime with me, John Bloodworth, Gentleman Crafter. Now this week I am using a few new products. They're all from Just4youonlineuk, and the first is a premium heat resist resin. It's a two-part resin, so you've got the resin and the hardener, and it's a 2-to-1 ratio, so 2 parts resin to 1 part hardener. And I'm also using some iridescent inclusions from Just4youonlineuk. This stuff is absolutely beautiful, but I've yet to see how it comes out in a mould. So I'm going to try by using the new pyramid mould from these guys as well. So usual mixing time 3 minutes, and then we can start pouring. Now I'm going to use a couple of different moulds actually, because I've got a few bits that I want to try and achieve here. So I've got a resin coaster and also the pyramid mold, and then a few others you'll see later in this video. For this one I am pouring from the center outwards. Hopefully that will give me a different effect, but we'll see how this turns out. And I'm pouring slowly. Lots of air bubbles there you can see, but that's because I've been mixing quite hard and fast. Obviously take your time when you're doing it yourself. I was just trying to rush this through in order to have some fantastic playtime. Okay, so this is what it looked like after a couple of minutes. Looks beautiful, doesn't it? So I'm just going to carefully slide that to one side while I tackle the pyramid. Now for this one I am going to use some alcohol inks as well, and I hadn't quite mixed the resin yet, so just going back into a bit of mixing. What I wanted to try and achieve with this one is some kind of cloudy mix of the alcohol inks swirling around in the pyramid, and then I was going to chuck some of the iridescent stuff that you've just seen me use into the mold as well, and see what happens. So in goes as much of the resin as possible, scraping out every last drop. By the way, the resin that I'm using from Just4youonlineuk is the same stuff they use in nail bars apparently for their countertops. So in that respect it's heat resistant and also apparently food safe. Although it's not for food preparation, you can serve food on it. Okay, so alcohol inks, a variety here coming from Pin Flare and also Ranger. And I've got some translucent colours and also some metallic in there as well. Now comes the scary bit. Do I mix thoroughly? Do I swirl? Do I drop? I think I'll probably just go for it and see what happens. It's like playing with golden syrup. So I'm just speeding this up because I ended up basically mucking about for quite a bit of time. What you'll see happen though, because of the fast forward nature of this video, is how things move and settle in the mold. Now I'm just taking that iridescent and I'm actually pouring it down the sides. And you can see how that's sinking down the sides and then pushing the resin with the coloured alcohol inks back up. So it'll be interesting to see what happens there. Don't worry, I'm not going to make you sit and watch it dry for 24 hours. What I did with some of the leftover resin that I had was use the Katie Sue mould that I had here. And also recently I got a cabochon mould from Cooks and Gold. So I'm going to try that out as well. Probably easier if I'd have put this into a squeezy bottle, but never mind. Interesting to see what's happening with that Katie Sue mold though. And then of course I've got my round balls, which are becoming a bit of a thing in these videos, but a little goes a long way in these molds, so I want to be able to use every last drop. I had a bit left in the other tumbler as well, so I'm pouring that in. And then hopefully in 24 hours these all turn out okay. We'll see. Okay, so 24 hours later and I'm ready to unmold everything. Even the pyramid, even though it's deeper and denser, you can still unmold it after 24 hours. Now what I noticed initially on this is obviously that all of the iridescent that I poured down the sides stayed on the sides. So in that respect I haven't really got much of the alcohol ink to show you on this one, although there was a cool little bubble thing at the top where the iridescent hadn't quite made it down the sides. So I think I'll probably redo this again in the future, but leave out the iridescent and see how I get on with the alcohol inks on their own. There's that cool bubble, and you can see how the iridescent can sometimes leave like a wispy cloudy effect, which I think is quite cool. I might even use some gilding flakes as well in the next one. Okay, now for the round resin, round coaster even. Now the back, or the bit that's facing me, looks quite interesting. However, what I find when I'm doing pours like this is that the bit that settles towards the bottom, which would generally be the front, has quite a uniform look. So perhaps I need to use a lot less of the iridescent in the future and mix in a lot more clear and get some of that amazing clouding effect going on. Okay, next up we're going with the Katie Sue molds. As before, you may have seen in my previous videos, because the molds have a matte finish, then any of the resin also has a matte finish. In this case it was quite cool because it's got almost like a soapstone finish, a soapstone effect with that iridescent, as you can see here. Quite cool. Almost like a traditional cameo. Okay, onto the cabochons. Now I haven't used this one before, so I didn't know what finish it would have, and although it looked quite smooth, it's actually got quite a matte finish in this cabochon mold. So as a result, these looked quite matte. Not a bad thing. Interesting effect. I'll have a think about how I can use those in the future. Now, I'm not sure that the bits that I poured into the right hand side of this mold as you're looking at it were thoroughly mixed, because when I took these out after 24 hours they were still a bit squishy. But I can leave them to air cure and hopefully they should harden over time. The other ones, however, with the iridescent inclusion, dried absolutely thoroughly, or cured thoroughly, I should use the professional terms, and came out really beautifully with a super shiny outer layer, and then you get sort of hints of that twinkle from the mica or the iridescence going on through them. Hopefully you can pick that out in these pictures. I love them personally. Okay, now the other week I did do an experiment with some of the perfect cells, and it was basic pour with a few different colours and effects. And I will be honest, I'm not particularly happy with the side that you just saw with that sort of interlacing. However, the darker side was quite cool, and I thought it would make a fantastic base for a future pyramid. So I'm going to hang on to that for now, and I will bring that back in a future video. Okay, next up is another one that I did in my spare time that I didn't get managed to record, and I basically did this in several layers. This one has like a full-on glitter layer, then a resin with colour layer, and then also a totally clear layer. And for me, this one is absolutely stunning and will stay displayed in my lounge for quite a long time. It's almost like it's absolutely chock-packed full of stars. And again, these are all the resins and inclusions from Just4youonlineuk. But listen, for now, that's a few of my experiments that are ongoing. I've got more that are waiting to come out, more that are waiting to go in, so do tune in again in the near future. If you have enjoyed this video, please do give it a thumbs up, or a like as they call it. And of course, if you would like to see more from me, John Bloodworth, Gentleman Crafter, please remember to hit the subscribe button. In the meantime, thanks for watching, and I will look forward to seeing you next time.